So there's a debate going on in the Star Citizen community right now, and I think everyone is wrong. This isn't just me being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. I genuinely think people are looking at things wrong. This debate has gotten so much attention that developers have had to join 2-hour podcasts and hop in forums to clarify their stance, as the community goes back and forth on their very strong opinions on the matter. The battle is simple. Is Star Citizen a PvE game first, or a PvP game first? How it started, though, is a bit more complicated. In an effort to slow down ship battles, CIG developers have tried various things over the years. Games like No Man's Sky and Squadrons have had easier to follow space battles because visually, everything is clear. Part of this is due to ship fights taking place in close proximity, but in Star Citizen, many fights would take place far away from each other and often result in jousting for the average player. Slowing players down would allow battles to feel more intimate and less confusing for most players. They accomplish this through master modes, which forces ships to be in various states: navigation mode or fighting mode, called SCM. Now, as you can imagine, any gameplay loops that include flying, like racing and dogfighting, had people getting a little bit upset over some of these changes, since this also included some flight model changes like removing tricording, a technique used to gain extra speed by getting more thrusters on your ship involved. But whether tricording, master modes, or the flight model are right or wrong, a higher level discussion arose. Should PvE or PvP be prioritized? My answer? I think it's an irrelevant question. Let me explain. For context, Yogi Klatt, the developer stepping in to chat with the community on all of this, and huge credit to CIG for allowing him to do this, by the way, it's why we appreciate the studio, had said that Star Citizen is a PvE game first with PvP in it. He later made a comment to clarify that the game is 50-50, and I think his misspeaking comes from the exact same place my statement comes from. It's neither, and he maybe didn't know how to phrase it. Because I personally don't get why Star Citizen needs to be classified as either. We're not trying to figure out whether playing Call of Duty Zombies or Warzone. This is a PvP game. It's about fighting other players. This is a PvE game. It's about fighting the environment. This is a PvEVP game. It's about fighting, but you can do both. And this is Star Citizen. It's not about fighting, which is why I don't think we need the PV anything descriptor. Call Star Citizen a PV rock when you're mining. Call it a PV box when you're delivering, or a PV cargo when you're space trucking. Now, arguably, that is environment, so you could say PvE, I suppose. But boxing the game into a PvE versus PvP discussion, in my opinion, misses the point of the game entirely. Star Citizen is a universe to do whatever you want. You don't have to verse anything. You could be a medic and help everyone. You could go to the club and have a dance party with your friends, or roleplay at the station.
Did you guys
find it strange that sometimes our customers just stare at us?
That is very strange.
Well, I know this simplifies a lot of the arguments that people were making, like Avenger 1, mentioning that developing features for PvP first makes the PvE experience better, which is a valid point, and I don't think these discussions shouldn't be happening. I just think that it's important people don't get too deep into the discussion, that they lose focus on what the game is supposed to be overall. It's not PvE, it has PvE. It's not PvP, it has PvP. But the game is not about either. I want to give a shout out to O'Sullivan, the first member joining the channel, who now has early access to videos and videos that will stay exclusive on the channel. If you'd like to support me, I'd love if you click the join button. But if you don't really know what Star Citizen is and you'd like to know more of what it actually is, click this video here. And if you want to know my opinion on why I think no other game can do what Star Citizen does, click this one over here.